An emergency alert told us to shelter in place. The real danger was already inside. I've heard people say that horror movies are predictable. You know when someone's about to die. You can sense the jump scare. The music swells. The shadow moves. And boom, you're safe because it's just a movie. But what they don't tell you is that in real life, horror doesn't follow a script. Sometimes, it creeps in slowly. A weird feeling in your gut. An uneasy silence. A missing piece of memory that doesn't feel important until it's too late. That's what happened to us. There were 6 of us at the start. Me, James, my best friend since middle school. Eric, the guy who always brought the weed and stupid stories. His girlfriend Lee, who was way too good for him. Then Max and Donnie, the twins, quiet, kind of weird, but fun in that mysterious way. We had planned a weekend getaway to a cabin in the woods. You know, classic stuff. No phones, no internet, no civilization for miles. It was owned by Donnie's uncle, who lived out in Colorado and barely used it. It was isolated. Really isolated. No neighbors, no traffic, no power lines. The only way in was a narrow dirt road that twisted through thick woods and ended at a clearing with the cabin sitting dead center. The place looked like it hadn't been touched in years. But that was the point. We brought our own water, food, firewood, even backup batteries and flashlights. We were ready to be off-grid. Ready to escape the world. We got there around dusk Friday night. The trees swallowed the last bit of sunlight as we unpacked the car and settled in. The cabin creaked and groaned like old bones, but it felt sturdy enough. There were 3 rooms inside, 2 small bedrooms and a bigger living space with a fireplace and an old couch that had definitely seen better days. Eric and Lee took one room. Max and Donnie shared the other. Me and James rolled out sleeping bags near the fire. It felt like a sleepover from high school, but more adult. We drank. We laughed. We told scary stories like kids again. It was fun. Until the firewood ran low around midnight and Eric went out to the shed to grab more. He was only gone a few minutes. When he came back, he was pale. Didn't say anything. Just dumped the wood near the hearth and sat down, shaking. We asked what happened. He shook his head and said, "I thought I saw something in the woods." That was all. We assumed it was an animal. A bear. Maybe a coyote. But something in his voice made my stomach tighten. Lee rubbed his back and whispered something in his ear. Eric didn't say another word the rest of the night. That was the first warning sign. The second came just after 12:30 a.m. Every phone in the room buzzed. We weren't supposed to have service out there. No towers for miles. But every screen lit up with the same message. Emergency alert. Do not go outside. Shelter in place immediately. Trust no one who arrives after this message. The room fell silent. Max chuckled nervously and said, "Weird glitch." But it wasn't just the message. It was the sound. Not the usual blaring tone. This one was low. Like a voice whispering beneath static. James held his phone to his ear and swore he heard someone breathing. Donnie looked freaked out. "Guys. This is a government channel. They don't just send alerts like this by accident." Eric finally spoke. He said, "It's the same voice I heard in the woods." We all went quiet. The fire crackled. Outside, the trees swayed like they were whispering. We shut all the windows, locked the doors, and sat by the fire until we fell asleep one by one. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of someone walking around outside. Slow. Deliberate. I sat up and looked out the window. There was someone standing near the tree line. Not moving. Just watching. I couldn't see their face. Just the shape. When I looked again, they were gone. I told myself it was a deer. A shadow. I went back to sleep. When we woke up the next morning, Eric was gone. His boots were still by the door. His coat was hanging on the rack. His phone was on the table. But he wasn't anywhere in or around the cabin. We searched the woods. Called his name. Nothing. Then we found his flashlight in the shed. It was still on, pointing straight up. In the dirt next to it was a set of footprints. They led out of the shed, across the yard, and into the trees. But they weren't Eric's boots. These were bare feet. Small. Child-sized. And they led right up to the back of the cabin. Then vanished. We called the ranger station. No signal. The car wouldn't start. Dead battery. Brand new, but totally drained. We were stuck. That night, no one slept. We kept the fire burning bright. At 2:11 a.m., another alert came. Do not listen to the voice outside. It is not human. Do not open the door. Then we heard it. Knocking. 3 slow knocks. Then a pause. Then a voice. Let me in. It's Eric. But the voice was wrong. Too slow. Like someone trying to sound human but forgetting how. Lee ran for the door. James tackled her just in time. She screamed and clawed at him, saying, "It's him. He's hurt." But her eyes were blank. Empty. Max and I held her down. Then came another knock. And another voice. "Hey. It's Donnie. Open up." We looked around. Donnie was still inside, shaking in the corner. She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. I didn't say that. The knocking stopped. Silence. We waited. And then, from every wall, every window, tapping. Tiny fingers tapping. Thousands of them. It sounded like rain made of fingernails. James screamed and threw a lamp. The light went out. Darkness flooded the cabin. And in the blackness, I saw faces. Pressed to the windows. Smiling. But their smiles were wrong. Too wide. Too full of teeth. We huddled together until dawn. The tapping stopped with the first ray of sunlight. The forest was silent. The windows were clean. No marks. No prints. Like nothing had happened. Except for the door. The wood was cracked, warped. As if something had been pushing from the inside. We made a plan. We'd leave. On foot if we had to. It was risky. But staying was worse. We packed what we could and started walking. By noon, we reached the road. It looked different. Longer. Wrong. Every turn we took brought us back to the same place. The cabin. Every single time. Lee started sobbing. Then she stood up straight and smiled. "Why are you all so scared?" she said. Her voice was deeper. Not hers. We stepped back. She reached into the fire pit. With her bare hand.